All right, man. Y'all look good today. Yeah, is that the smell of popcorn, or is that y'all the essence of smell y'all bring into the place? You know what? There's some smells that in context are really good, and out of context, it's like that's not so appealing. Like youth camp that I was at all week long. There's no context where some of those smells fit in, ever. A week in a dorm with a bunch of dudes, man, I'm telling you what, you learn a lot. I hope to see some of you boys up at the altar today. Man, it was incredible, though. I told some of our leaders, I said, I feel like every adult should go to youth camp at least once, because it is like an adrenaline shot to your spirit. It really is. But man, I'm anticipating, what God's going to do. I really do feel like, and I've seen it just too many times to know that it's not true, that the Spirit will break out in people's hearts and lives a lot of times through the passion of teenagers. First Timothy said, Paul was talking to Timothy, said, hey, be an example to all the believers. And that's what these teens have really done, man. They've really entered into God's presence, and it was powerful. Teens, was it awesome? Oh, man, I guess not. Okay. No, I had a great week with you guys, but I am so glad that I am not with y'all anymore. Y'all are amazing, but my bed was so nice. So this is the last week of At the Movies. Has anybody enjoyed At the Movies? I think it's been fun. I really like At the Movies. And today we're doing a movie by the show of hands. Let's see how many people have seen it. I think it's not going to be very many people in here. It's a movie called Lion. Anybody seen Lion? Really? Okay, not Secondhand Lion or whatever. I don't know. Somebody told me this morning that I should have done that. I don't even know what that movie is, okay? I know, you're disappointed. People are, I got to watch it apparently. But it's called Lion, and it's another movie that's based off of a true story. And it's one of those movies that I really do encourage you to go back and watch. I feel like everybody should watch this movie. And it's one of those kind of movies that when you're watching it, there will be a couple of moments that you will probably ugly cry. You know what I mean? There's like where things run down, and there's stuff where like you just, that kind of. Who in here's an ugly crier? Yeah. Y'all are gonna ugly cry through some parts of this movie. I'll be real with you, but man, it's such a good movie, and it's based on the true story of this guy named Saru Brierley. It's a young boy who, to say he was born in an impoverished village would be almost an understatement. They had nothing, and we think, that this doesn't happen anymore, that we live in this modern world. But I'm telling you, there are parts of this world that they literally have nothing, and so the only way that they made their living was Saru and his brother Gadu, because they were in India. The only way they make their living is they would go to the local train station, and they would try to find leftover food or leftover change or anything that people had left behind on the train station. What a life! That was how they made it through, and how they would have their mother and their siblings survive life. But as you watch the movie, you realize that they didn't have much as it was worldly possessions of things, but man, they really had what mattered most. They had each other. They loved each other. They had a close and loving family. But there's one time that a lot of times Gadu, which is the older brother, he would go out and he would stay gone for days or a couple weeks at a time, trying to earn a little bit of money. He would ride the trains and just try to scrounge up enough money to get them through another little bit of time, and trade this in at the local market to get food and milk and this kind of things. And so he was going off, and Saru, who was 5 years old, begged his older brother, let me go with you. And he, at first he was like, no. And then how younger siblings can be, pester you. Who had a younger sibling? I was the younger sibling, so I was that kid. I can admit that. And so he bugged him, and he finally let him go. He said, okay. He said, but I think you're really too young to go do night work, because they were working at nighttime whenever all the trains were coming in. And so they worked a little bit, and then Saru got tired. And after he got really tired, Gadu put him down on a bench, said, okay, you stay here. You go to sleep. Stay right here and don't move. Whenever Saru wakes up, His brother's nowhere around. He's looking after sleeping for a couple hours. He looks around and it's dark outside. No brother, no older brother. And so he walks all around trying to find, yelling his brother's name. His brother's nowhere around. He walks into the train that's close by looking for his brother, and then you'll see that what happens next changes everything about his life. Check this out. You can see that he's searching for his missing brother. He fell asleep on the train, and then when he wakes up, he's traveling further away from home than this little boy's ever been before, and he winds up being really far from home. I remember one time I was in the grocery store, right? Little kid, get separated from mama for like 2 minutes, and I am freaking out. Man, like the panic setting in. Mom! Like I run to the front. Can y'all page my mama? Anybody ever been there? You done that before? Like I mean, imagine being this 5-year-old kid, right? And then so he's all alone, and so he winds up staying 2 days on this train with no food, no water, nobody, and has no clue where he's at. He's hungry, he's lost, he's afraid. I mean, can you imagine the terror that he was going through? And then what happens is soon he'll wind up spending about 3 weeks alone by himself, trying to survive and live on his own, having no clue really where he's at, and kind of searching for home, yelling his mom's name, yelling his brother's name. He doesn't realize that he's about 1,000 miles from home. And he's traveled that far, and just insane. I can't imagine. I would be terrified as an adult, much less a 5-year-old kid. And so what happens is he begins a search. Again, this is a true story that happened to this guy. He begins a search that lasts for about 25 years trying to find home. Not able to find where he lived because of his age. He didn't know how to pronounce the name of his city right. He didn't they didn't have a phone to call, and so he didn't know how to make it back home. And I wonder if possibly some of us could relate a little bit to Saru. Now, obviously, you haven't been lost in a train station and traveled 1,000 miles from home and ended up in Calcutta, India with 5 million people, okay? Probably not your story, but has our stories in some way maybe where we've felt like we're lost and searching for something? Have we felt like that? Or maybe are we feeling like that a little bit right now in life? Say, man, I just kind of feel lost with where I'm at in life. I'm lost with decisions that I've got to make. I've lost with the situations that I'm in. I'm lost with is there really all this there is to life? I'm kind of lost in that. I'm searching. Maybe you have a job you just can't stand, right? And you're kind of lost in that searching for a better job or a better career. Maybe you're struggling to stay in a marriage that just seems like it hasn't gotten any better. It's in really difficult shape, and you're searching for an answer to that. Maybe you're searching and you're hoping to find that special someone, right? You're putting everything on just right on point every day, right? So that you can find that special somebody, and so that's kind of your search. You're kind of lost in that. Maybe you're battling a diagnosis and scared out of your mind, right? And you're searching to kind of figure out what's next. Maybe there's a financial mountain that looks like you could never climb or get out of, and so you feel lost in that, and you're searching for anything, some kind of an answer, some kind of a solution, a way out. I don't know what your story, your example is, but there's 1,000 we could do we don't have time for, but obviously we know what I'm talking about. We kind of feel at a loss in some area. We feel lost and kind of searching for what is this going to look like. I love what the Bible says King David said this in Psalm 69:3. If you've never even read the Bible before, you've probably heard of David. He's the same guy with David and Goliath and all these stories. Became the king of Israel. And he said this in Psalm 69:3. So he said, I'm hoarse from calling for help, bleary-eyed from searching the sky for God. I mean, have we ever felt like that before? In other words, I'm getting tired of the search. Like I'm crying out. My voice is hoarse from youth camp, right? But my voice feels hoarse sometimes when we're crying out. It seems like with no answer, with no clear, where do I go from here? And that's David. Right? The Bible says he's a man after God's own heart, and he felt these moments. So I don't care how long you've been going to church. I don't care what your financial status is, relationship status on Facebook is. We all at some point, no matter our privilege or non-privilege, feel lost sometimes. And so did David. You've been searching for healing for your marriage. You've been searching to get ahead in life, whatever it is. Sometimes it feels like no matter how hard I search, I feel 1,000 miles away from where I need to be. And I think some of that is how we just feel in life sometimes. And so we got to figure out what is our direction to find back home? Like how do we find what we're searching for? So Saru finally gets to the end of the line, right, where the doors finally open, and he, like I said earlier, he ends up in the city of Calcutta, India. He's used to this little tiny village. He gets to this place where there's over 5 million people living in one place, almost 1,000 miles from home. So he gets there, and the platform is just completely full of people waiting to rush into the train. The doors open, he rushes in, and all he's doing is he's looking for someone to help. So he didn't know how far away from home that it really was. And if you know anything about India, I know very little, but they have 22 different distinct languages. Now, that's not including all the dialects and all the different things. There's 22 different languages in India. So what he doesn't know is whenever he gets off the train, even though they all look the same as the same country, no one speaks the same language. They don't understand a word that he's saying. He's surrounded by people. He's still so lost and alone, searching and completely not understood. I wonder how many of us, if we would just kind of be real honest in ourselves, how many of us in life, maybe you're surrounded by people all the time, yet you just feel so kind of alone in what you're going through. And that nobody maybe quite knows what you're feeling, or at least we feel that way sometimes. Nobody, can really speak into what you're going through, and so at least you convince yourself of that. We're surrounded by people, maybe even this morning. Maybe this morning we're in a room full of a lot of other people, and yet maybe we just kind of feel like drifting and lost. And the truth is, I think the bigger issue is that we're not just, our compass isn't just off a little bit in life. Sometimes it's really easy to get spiritually lost. To get lost from, you look at a compass, there's that true north and that direction that we're really supposed to be heading, and sometimes we just get way off track sometimes without even realizing, and we wind up being someplace that we never knew we were going to wind up being, and we look up, and then things in life is so lost, and at the end of the day, we're just spiritually lost. And maybe that means that you've never found that answer to that void in your life of like, is there a God? Maybe it just means like, man, you know what? I've been going to church my whole life. I just feel like, man, there's something kind of empty inside. We're spiritually lost. Man, it's like we can call out to God, God, God. And maybe sometimes even He feels hard to find. I know I've been there in those moments. I've been in those moments where it's like I'm surrounded by all of you, and I've got my nice pasted on smile. Like, what's up? And on the inside, though, I'm just kind of like, nobody really understands my struggle. Nobody understands where I'm at. Nobody, and I'm searching for something. And it could be that you're like that this morning. I think there's a lot of people in here that could be like that. I think some of you maybe even said that surely there's maybe got to be a God, but how do I find him? How do I believe? I mean, how do I really know who he is? And if there is a God, how do I even find this God? And so many of us, too, we've been playing church for so long. Like, we have every Christian t-shirt they've ever made, and you look good. I mean, the bumper stickers on your car, man, you're rocking the city church back there. And I love it. I think we got some more decals back there. If you drive good, you can pick one up. Disclaimer, don't be making anybody cuss while you're driving and they see city church in the back of your car. Man, but we know sometimes the motions, but we've never found the reason for the motions, if you know what I mean. And going through those motions without the reason for what we're doing, it's dead, it's boring. And at the end of the day, we kind of feel lost in what we're doing. Why am I even doing this? See, the good news is that Proverbs tells us that when we search for God, when we truly search for him. Some of us, we've done the church thing, but we've never really searched for God. We've never really put our lives in his direction. It says when we search for God, though, we find him. It says in Proverbs 8:17, those who search will surely find me. When you search for God, you find him. He's not playing hide and seek. I know sometimes in life it does feel like that. Sometimes in life I feel like I could cry out all I want. Like, God, are you just pushing the ignore button, right? Like you got your phone and you're like, oh, it's him again, right? Like he let it ring 3 or 4 times so he wouldn't know that he buttoned me, right? Like you do that. Like you don't want to button them at the first ring because then they'll know you buttoned them. So you wait 3 or 4 rings and then that way they won't know. I see you looking at each other like, I've done it to him before. Jerk. I know you have. But sometimes we can feel like God does that to us, but he doesn't. Sometimes the voices all around us can be so loud that we can't hear the God speaking to us. Sometimes we're searching in the wrong direction. Sometimes God is teaching us something through the search, but he's never hard to find. And he's closer than the very breath that we breathe and the skin that we wear. Our God is here. He says if you search for him, you will find him. So while on a desperate search for his family, as a child, he doesn't not able to find back home. And so what happens is he's almost abducted by human traffickers on the streets, and he makes his way out of that, and he makes it into an orphanage. It's not the greatest place. As he shows up and you watch the movie, these other kids are coming up to me like, this is not a good place. This is not a good place. There's abuse going on and all this. But at the end of all of it, Saru is adopted by a great family in Australia. So he winds up going from getting on the wrong train and living out about 25 years of his life with a family in Australia. And an amazing couple, but he no matter how good life is, because he's found a good family, he gets to go to school, but no matter how good life is, he still knows that he's still searching, he's still looking, and he still knows, man, there's still, like, I know that there's still something that I'm missing my real family, I'm missing my real home. So when we pick up the story about 20 years later, and he's got some good friends and he's hanging out, and his friends weren't really aware of that, what Saru was feeling on the inside, on the search that had really never ended. So he showed up and he had some Indian friends, and like he didn't even know how to eat the food right. You know, they were like he had no clue where he was even really from or what that was about. Everybody was kind of scooping it up right, and they're like, you just take a fork. You don't even know what you're doing, he didn't really remember how to speak the language. You know, he'd been raised in Australia his whole life, and he'd now been gone off to college, and so this kind of triggered him because these little snacks. There was one scene earlier in the movie where he and his brother were there, and they were looking at these snacks, and he's like, "Can we buy some of these?" And he's like, "No, we can't afford those today." So when he kind of held it up, he was remembering. He's like, he'd never been able to actually have one before, and it triggered that memory. And there's some pretty interesting facts about Saru's real life search for his family. There's some interesting things that he realized that his best chance to find his family was to find the train station. He said that's all he could really remember, and so is one station among about 10,000 train stations in India. So he had to search all these stations. So knowing that he was from a warm village, he kind of took away all the cold regions, and then he calculated the train speeds times the amount of time that he was traveling on the train, and he narrowed the search down to 962 million square kilometers. Yeah, that's narrowed down. And using the internet, this is a true part of the story, he used Google Earth, to try and find home evening after evening, week after week, month after month. For over 3 years, Saru, he would go and he would work and he would come home, and from about 5 until about 2 in the morning every day, he would search for home. He kind of estimates that he spent about 10,000 hours searching because he knew that he was lost, and there was a family that he was missing from. I think there's a key there. I think he kind of tapped into something that we all need to know on our own journeys of life, and sometimes when we get lost is we all feel that way sometimes. But Saru, he searched and he searched and he searched, and I think one of the keys is he didn't give up. Some of us so many times I think give up way too early. We give up, we give in before our breakthrough begins, before we should. We give up, we give in. We're like, what's the point? What's the point in even trying to pay down this mountain of debt anymore? What's the point in even trying to restore this marriage anymore? What's the point in doing all that? And I think sometimes we've tried so hard in our own effort to find what we're looking for, and we don't find it. We want to give up. The key is using the right tool, the right thing to find what we're looking for. Because in reality, we don't even know what it is that we need. So we search and we look and we're on the hunt. And he finally found this tool called Google Earth, right? And he used it every night. And so when we find the right tool, and I'm telling you, the right key, if it were, the right tool, the right thing that we need to fill what we're looking for, it's only God. Anything outside of that, I mean, you're searching for something, it may last for a bit, but what you're really looking to find isn't really filled. See, Isaiah 57:10, I think this is an incredible scripture. In Isaiah 57:10, it says this: you grew weary in your search. Come on, somebody, right? Anybody that's, man, I grew weary in my search. Day after day, I just kind of grew some weary in searching for what I was looking for. Then he says this, but you never gave up. Desire gave you renewed strength, and you did not grow weary. That last line, desire gave you new strength. You did not grow weary. If you're searching for something today, I want to encourage you, don't give up. Continue to search. If you're searching for peace, don't give up. Don't give up, because we serve a God of peace. If you're searching for healing, don't stop searching for healing. Maybe it's a relational healing, a physical healing, a emotional healing. Don't stop seeking for your healing. If you're searching for a career that you love, don't give up. If you're searching for restoration in your life, in your marriage, don't let anything cause you to give in, to give up, to stop searching. Why? Because God sees your desire. God sees your search. We're not searching in vain. We're not searching just lost with no compass. If we're searching with God, if we're clinging to Him, and I just want to encourage you in this today. Whatever you're going through, whatever path of life that you're on, that maybe you do feel lost, that God is here to strengthen you today. He's here to encourage you today. That God in His presence is here. In fact, there's a verse for I think for us today. It says this in Galatians 6:9. It says, "Let us not become weary in doing good." Right? Sometimes we can put our lives in the right direction. Who in here said, "Me, I've heard this speech before, right? And I've placed my life in the direction of God, and it seems like nothing got any better. It seems like nothing really changed, and so we give up. We go back. Don't give up. Press in and seek after God, because let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, you know what? God's got perfect timing. Anybody know somebody's like always late? Always late, right? I mean, you even told them 30 minutes earlier, and somehow they subconsciously knew what time it started, and they were 5 minutes late still. Always late. See, sometimes we can think that, God, you're late, right? You must got your timing off. Where are you at? But God doesn't run late. God's schedule, God's train schedule is right on track. He said that the proper time, you'll reap a harvest if what? If what? I don't have the scriptures up here today, but I do want, if you have notes or you have your phone, write that scripture down, Galatians 6:9. It says, at the proper time we'll reap a harvest. Right? Nothing worse than planting something, like we're really good at this at home, plant something and it dies. Right, man, we went through some plants. And so I'm going to let you on a little trick that she's found out and that she's doing. In our plants at home, they look beautiful. They're fake. Real potting soil. I'm sorry, I'm telling real potting soil, real plant, and then some fake plants. And they look good, and they don't die. Praise God. But, we harvest and like to not reap would be horrible. And so many times we're doing that. We're putting stuff into life and we're not getting back because we're planting in the wrong field. We're lost. But he says, look, at the proper time, if we will reap a harvest, man, you're gonna get back what we're seeking after if we don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just don't quit. Keep going forward. Check out this next clip. Luke chapter 15, Jesus tells 3 stories. It's 3 stories of people searching for things that they had lost. And one story is about this woman who had 10 coins. And she loses 1 coin. And so she tears up her whole house searching for that one lost coin. Then he tells another story of a shepherd who has 100 sheep. One sheep wanders off and gets lost, and the shepherd leaves the 99 others and to find that one lost sheep. Then the third story is in Luke 15 about a father who has 2 sons. One son leaves home, wants to go do his own thing. The father waits and watches day after day after day after day after day after day, waiting for his lost son to come back home. And when the son decides to return home, the father throws the biggest party that you've ever seen because his lost son has been found. His lost son is back home. And so when we read these stories, what these stories do, what they're talking about is they reflect how God feels about us. He's searching for you, for me, and for us. Those of you who are on a spiritual search, you're searching for something that just feels lost. Maybe you feel purposeless. Maybe you're just kind of lost in life, and you're in a season in life you just don't know I mean, what is there for me? Maybe you've been searching for something to give you meaning in life. I don't know what that looks like for you, but think about this. What if what you're searching for is actually searching for you? I mean, think about that. What if what you're searching for is really God himself, and all along he's been on the hunt for our heart? Ever since we've been searching, he's been searching us out too. That's his heart, is to find the one that's lost and bring them back home. He couldn't wait to get back home. Didn't know how he was going to get there, but he was waiting and searching. See, Ezekiel 34:16 says this: I will search for my lost ones who strayed away, and I will bring them safely home again. I will bandage the injured and strengthen the weak. So what if, again, what we're searching for is bigger than just what it looks like? We're searching for restored marriage, we're searching for healing, we're searching for career, we're searching for peace, we're searching for wholeness and whatever it is for life, we're searching for purpose. But what if really what we're searching for isn't that thing that we think we are anyways? What if what we're searching for is so much bigger and so much grander and so much more incredible? And what if that thing that we're searching for that really fills those spots has been on the prowl and on the search for you since day one? Isn't that awesome? I'm not in this search alone. He's calling our name. He's yelling for us. Sometimes over the crowd and over everything else in life, we can't see him, we can't hear those calls, but he's yelling our name just like we're yelling out for something to feel that. If you're hurting today, just know that he'll bandage you because he offers healing. If you're tired, our God wants to strengthen you today. He's searching for you, and he promises if you search for him, you will find him. Jeremiah 29:13 says this: you will seek me and find me when you seek me with your whole heart. See, that's the thing about our God. God doesn't want just a piece. A lot of times we're like, God, I'm going to give you Sunday 10 a.m. to about 11:25. God, I'll give you this piece and this piece. But I think God looks at us, and it's not to be like, you better give me everything. He's like, you want to fill every void of your heart? It takes giving all that heart to me. So many times we want to just give him a small piece and wonder why we're still lost in so many areas. God said, that thing, would you trust me with it? Would you give that to me? Give me everything. God says in the scripture, hey, I'm a jealous God. See, but it's not like an abusive relationship jealousy. You know what I'm talking about? Like your phone's out and they're like, who you texting? Better not be no man. Better not be another woman, you know. See, God's a jealous God because he knows that you're never complete until you fully find him. He's like, you're searching. Let me complete you the way that you're intended to be completed. God's not going to settle for a halfway heart. And we wonder why so many times, like, still feel so lost, God, because you haven't really given God anything. Maybe today you didn't realize that's what you needed to do. You're like, you've been on the outside looking in and saying, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know why I still feel this. It's a God void. And it's never fully filled until we're fully his. And that's the way that it works. Maybe that's why you're here today. You've been searching for something for such a long time. Can I tell you that maybe if you would just allow yourself to, the search can be finally over. Saru was ready to give up searching. You can see even here he was getting depressed and upset. He was ready to quit. I mean, imagine real life story over 3 years, every night, every day, trying to find home. Where I don't even know where it's at. I can't even speak the same language anymore. Like, where is home? But he kept going. And he eventually found what he was looking for. So every year, he celebrates his birthday on May the 22nd. That's not the day that he was born. It's the day that he was found. That's a sad, but what an incredible story. It took him 25 years to find home, but I guess we have better news than that. It doesn't take 25 years to find what our heart's searching for. Searching for healing and restoration. Really, we're searching for God in a spiritual search.
Thanks for joining us online today. Make sure to stay connected with us throughout the week at Facebook and Instagram at City Church Lufkin. If you're looking for a church home in the Lufkin area, we would love for you to join us at Sundays at 10 a.m. We believe that God has a greater life in store for you. Let's discover that together. If you've been blessed by this ministry, we'd love to give you an opportunity to reach others just like you. By giving your tithe and offerings, you're making a way for other people to experience the love and hope of Jesus. There's a link in the description box where you can go online and make a donation, or you can simply open up the City Church Lufkin app and give there. Whether it's a one-time donation or a recurring gift, every dollar makes a difference. And before you go, we want to encourage you to be you. When God made you, He knew exactly what He was doing. You are fearfully and wonderfully made.